Welcome back, everybody. Before we get started, I gotta say three quick things first. First, please watch to the end and do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Second, there will be cursing and profanity. And three, yes, I will be giving my honest opinion about the episode of this TV show. Now, without further ado, welcome back to the channel. This is the Queen of TV channel, and I'm your host, the Queen herself. And if you're watching this, you are a subscriber or you are a viewer. Here you are known as the Prince and the Princesses of the channel. Welcome. Today we'll be talking about H2O Season 1, Episode 2, Pool Party. We start off with Emma taking a bath. She isn't excited about it. She gets in the tub, and as you know from previous episode, she turns to a mermaid. Cleo is doing her normal everyday chores. She starts to clean out her fish tank. Sadly, she gets her hand wet, and she turns to a mermaid. She has to tell her literal baby sister to tell their father that it's okay. He doesn't have to drive her to school. She has to walk. She doesn't say that, but she lets Kim know that, don't worry, I'll have to walk to school. I choose to. She tries calling Emma, but Emma is in the bathroom. Her mom sees there's a picture of a fish on there, so at least they're kind of coming to the mermaid stuff as a team. Not really. Rikki, on the other hand, who Cleo also calls, apparently is unavailable at the moment. She is out swimming at the beach having a grand old time. Cleo is complaining because at a meetup with Emma and Rikki at Cleo's house, Cleo is letting them know that moisturizer is mainly water. They cannot use it. Every time they do, they will turn into mermaids. Rikki is not listening to Cleo. She's talking about how fast and how long they can swim. They could easily swim as fast as dolphins. They could probably swim all the way to Fiji. Cleo is telling her that by the time we turn 21, we will be geriatrics. That is literally meaning they're going to look like mummies. In a non-Egyptian style. More of a mermaid style type mummy. Well, obviously, Cleo and Emma is listening to what Rikki's saying. Rikki's not really listening to what Cleo is saying, but Emma is. And Emma is listening to Cleo and Rikki at the same time. So, Emma breaks the ice by mentioning that she missed training today. First time in 6 years. So, Cleo throws a fit and says, "This is terrible. They need to go to the doctor. They need to tell their parents." Rikki tells her, "Yeah, and then we're going to end up skinned alive and look like jackets with moisturized skin." Obviously, Cleo didn't find it funny and gives Rikki a look. Emma says Rikki is right. So Cleo is like, "We really can't tell anybody. I can't tell my mother even. I tell her everything." Emma says no. Cleo gets a small thought in her head about telling Lewis. She can't even tell Lewis. She says that she's good with secrets. Cleo is good with secrets when Cleo takes it serious. But Cleo trusts Lewis will accept them and really wants to tell him. But she can't. They go on to school. Cleo is acting really weird with Lewis. Then all of a sudden we are introduced to a new character. Or characters. Miriam and Tiffany. Miriam is the girl who is wearing all pink and is the most popular of the school. And like Nate, Tiffany is her lackey slash a character that the show made completely useless. She's not even comic relief. She is just there. So basically, she is throwing a pool party. Miriam is throwing this pool party for Byron. Byron is another character we will be introduced to later. Byron won a championship in a surfing contest, and Miriam apparently could care less because she was sunbathing and she's only throwing this party just so she could look good, and obviously because since she's the popular girls always throw the coolest parties for the popular kids. I should note that Byron is being gushed on, like literally, by every single girl at this school, including Miriam, who apparently is Zane Bennett's girlfriend. Let that sink in for you. So, Cleo's excited because she wants to go to the party. Miriam is giving out invitations and she runs into Rikki and she tries to smooth things over by saying that maybe she has an invitation for her in there somewhere. Rikki makes a sneaky comment and says, I'll actually be flossing my teeth that day. So Miriam walks off. Lewis asks Cleo if she wants to go to the pool party. Cleo says yes at first, but then she realizes she would have to get wet. So she tells him no. Cleo is throwing another fit because she really wants to go to this party and hates the fact she cannot be a normal teenage girl. Sadly but surely, Emma says that they can go to the party, and Rikki says even if they do go, Cleo has to get wet. So Cleo, yet again, decides she wants to go, wants to ask Lewis, but then the mention of water makes her decide, nah, not really going. They try to solve this whole mermaid business. Emma believes that they can control the shit. Let's see how that works out for them. Well, how it works out is about as much as you can think because it doesn't happen to work at all. So they go to this part of the beach, which is actually Lewis's favorite spot. Rikki is trying to convince Cleo to get in, saying that it's not that deep here. That is not the problem. But Cleo says no. Rikki and Emma go in together and they walk a few steps, but then there's like a glitch, or in the Phantom's case, improper use of editing, where the girls, instead of walking a few feet, are like dang near halfway into the ocean. They tried the tactic of saying that they have no tail, and that apparently is going to stop them from growing a tail. That does not work, and they turn to mermaids. Lewis happens to show up, and both of the girls have to hide. Lewis brings up the fact that Cleo exposed his favorite fishing spot. She apologizes. Lewis wants to fish, but the girls tell Lewis that he has to leave. They even tell him that they are naked. He's like, well, quick dip then? That not gonna happen, Lewis. So Rikki tells him, goodbye, Lewis. He leaves. Cleo throughout this episode is very iffy with Lewis, though it does not show it completely. We do know for a fact that Cleo keeps changing her mind about going to the pool party, because we hear from Lewis later on. Well, until then, Cleo, Emma, and Rikki go back to Emma's house in defeat. Cleo and Emma both start complaining, so it's not just Cleo anymore. Cleo, while complaining, is drinking water from midair. Emma, now complaining because she has been training to be a swimmer since she was 3 months old. Damn. Like her parents were like dead set on her being this way. Are you serious? So She ends up making an instant popsicle. And Rikki is fed up. She calls them both out for sitting here complaining constantly about being mermaids. And they're just sitting here using their powers without even paying attention, with no mind at all of anything around them, just doing it out in the open. And all they can do is complain. And she says she does not want to hang out with them anymore. Cleo ends up agreeing with her, saying that sometimes she don't even want to hang out with herself. Well, the next time we see Cleo, she is at the Juice Net Cafe with Lewis. And like I said, yet again, she changed her mind by going to the pool party. And Lewis is fed up. And he literally complains himself about her being so indecisive. Well, Byron finally makes his appearance in this episode, and he is apparently hanging out with Zane and all Zane's friends. So I'm guessing Byron is a part of the rich clique. So Cleo compliments Byron, and Zane, being a asshole, decides to give her crap about it and tell her to control herself. How about you mind your business? Lewis stands up for her by bringing up the fact that Zane is all dry after his last water experience. He tells him that the next time he mentions that, he will decapitate him. Lewis does not appreciate being threatened, so he lets Zane know he means business. He grabs Zane and is about to do something till Cleo tells him don't do it. Byron tells him that Cleo is right because Zane is not worth it. Hell, he ain't gonna change him if he punch him. So what is the point of punching him? So they all let it go. We later find Rikki again because Lewis comes up to her asking her for advice on what to do with Cleo. Rikki does not want to talk to him, even go as far as to saying that maybe Cleo just does not like him. Well, Lewis lets her know that he did think of that at first, but then he was like, well, if she hanging out with you, her standards must be very low. Ouch. He said it. He said it. And you know what? I'm not mad at him. She did kind of jump at his throat about Cleo, so it makes sense that he would jump right back. Well, Rikki gets so frustrated, she finally uses the right hand motion and ends up boiling Lewis's drink. Rikki realizes she must have gotten her powers, so she goes to a area on the beach, finds a puddle of water, and heats it up. Finally, she has her powers. She is eager to tell Emma because I'm pretty sure she called her. Ends up showing Emma. Emma even goes as far as to apologize for her complaining earlier. We'll get to that later. And before she can even show Emma her powers, Lewis shows back up at another fishing spot. Like, how many fishing spots he got? Apparently tell him he has to leave, but Lewis is like, no way, I have not fished all day and I want to fish. He even brings the fact that he is not dealing with Cleo about not going to the pool party. Now, unbeknownst to all three of these people, Cleo actually told Miriam that she was coming to the party. She tried to do the whole no-tell method, and it didn't work for her either. But she still decided to go to the party, despite all of this. Lewis had actually got a text from her saying that she was going and said, well, look at her. Yet again, she says she's going. They tell him he needs to go over there and make sure she's okay. Lewis resists at first, even bringing up the fact that when he first found out that they were there, He wanted to know if they were naked again. Why? I have no idea. This brought up the fact that Lewis cares about Cleo, and he tries to play it off like it's only as friends, but we know it's more than that. He apparently decides to go. He doesn't want to, but he goes. He gets there just in the nick of time because Cleo is in trouble. Cleo arrives at the party and fakes about the fact of being sick, but says she can still go to the party. She goes in. Obviously, she's made fun of because she is literally dressed head to toe in warm clothing in a hot summertime because they're literally in Australia. And, well, Zane and his friends are there. And Zane wants his get back. Zane apparently wants to throw Cleo into the pool water. Lewis obviously shows up just in time with his fishing gear. Miriam even asks him why has he got his fishing gear. He says, I never leave home with this. And catches Zane and them getting ready to throw Cleo into the pool water. Lewis tells Zane to let him go. No, to let her go. And Zane decides that that means to throw her into the water like a complete and utter ignorant dumbass. So Lewis asks him if he even has a brain. He proves he doesn't by saying that he said let her go, so he let her go. Cleo obviously is freaking out. Lucky for her, Zane and all the other kids went inside of Miriam's place and are none the wiser as she's explaining to Lewis that she has something to tell him. Lewis said it is okay, it's fine, she doesn't have to tell him anything. She says, no, I really do. She tells him the reason why she's been acting strange at this point because she doesn't really have a choice, and he ends up seeing her as a mermaid. Now, at first he resists and hesitates a little bit, but he eventually agrees to help her. Luckily for them, Emma and Rikki show up. Emma is able to freeze all the other party guests along with Miriam and Zane inside of the house. When they try to get out, they think it's locked. Hell, Miriam even tells Zane it's not locked, but then she realizes the shit is locked because she can't even open it. Lewis is struggling to get Cleo out of this pool water because she is heavy as fuck. The girls tell him they can't, and Rikki lets it out of the bag. We would grow tails too if we do it. Lewis realizes all three of them are mermaids and everything is making sense. So he is able to pull Cleo out, and Rikki uses her powers to help Cleo dry off. Before they can officially leave, Rikki decides to heat up the pool as an act of revenge or defiance against the popular kids, who manage to finally open the door and see that there is no pool water. They assume it must be the heating system, but I doubt it. There's no way that would have happened. It's not that hot outside. They make it to the beach front where they run into Byron, who apparently decided not to go to the party because parties are not his thing and he's not really into that type of stuff. Obviously, the girls go crushing over him, which Lewis is like me, I just do not get it. And they sat on the beach and explained what's been going on. Emma is able to admit that she had to quit the swim team because obviously she can't swim, and that dream is out the drain. She has no chance of being a swimmer. Cleo feels bad for her, and Lewis puts the pieces together. Cleo has the ability to move water, Emma can freeze it, and Rikki can heat water up. So to him, that shit is bizarre because it logically does not make sense to him that they should be able to do that. Emma admits that yes, it is very strange, but sometimes it's a good kind of strange. Rikki has 3 words for it because Cleo cannot even explain it. Rikki explains it in 3 words. Totally, absolutely awesome. So, what's my review on this? Let me be clear. I firmly believe that Rikki was being unfair in this episode. Do I think she's being an asshole? No. I think Rikki does not understand the dynamics of Cleo and Emma's, not Rikki's, lives. Emma has been trained to be a swimmer since she was a child. So for that to just be non-existent is very hard to deal with. As for Cleo has lived her entire life as a normal girl. She already got enough to deal with. So adding being a mermaid in that is like not helping. I just feel like Rikki is thrown herself into this magical world and is like, I'm gonna make this work. And as a result, she kind of is being selfish to them, to the point where it's made to seem like they're the bad guys when Rikki's just acting out because, well, she's the only one that seems to be enjoying it and she just expects them to be all okay with it. But the secrets will eventually get to her as well. They finally told Lewis, which is what Cleo would have wanted, so at least Cleo got what she wanted in the end. Obviously, Rikki got that little revenge for Cleo. And so far, everything put together, this was a very solid episode. I really had a good time watching this, and it was nice to see everybody finally come together. So it's all uphill from here. Well, depending on what episodes I like compared to the ones I don't. But that is all I have for you today. If you enjoyed the content, like I said, like, comment, and subscribe. I hope you guys have a blessed day. I hope you have a wonderful day. If no one has told you this today, I'm telling you. I love you, and I will see you guys in the next video. But as you always know, we will be back. Bye, guys.